Okay, so we're doing my car, guys, and this is before her hair was getting done, so just looking a little nappy right now. So I taught myself this thing in Kung Fu Panda 2 with the lamb and poem, saying your story may not have a happy beginning, but that doesn't mean like it's basically over. It's the rest of the story who you choose to be, and that's 100% accurate, 100% true. Unfiltered. You can also study virtue yourself. We all go through things. Like for me, adoption. Like I've come from my family. It was in an orphanage, so it's like your birth mom didn't want you to come to a family. Both of my sisters are white. I had a couple black sisters, and then with one different from a different country. It's like you don't really fit in anywhere. So when you come from like that abandonment, you think like nobody really wants you, and you have all these other mental like adoption trauma issues. Some people don't want to be around you, and I get that. I had like a lot of trauma. So I understand when people who cut me off because my brain wasn't really fully 100% there. You're seeking like attention and stuff like that for other things until you're comfortable with yourself. And you learn that like you can think like your life is over, you can think like you're worthless or anything else. Like I've heard people with divorce stories, heard people with like abusive parents, I've heard people who ran away from home, people who had to start over and their story wasn't the best in the beginning, but they've chosen a different path. They chose to be successful. They chosen to be a better person for everybody. They chosen to realize like what they want. They chose to have more. To want the different what they had, whether it was breaking generational curses, generational traumas, whether it's creating a new business, whether it's just going for a walk outside every day for their health. Keep in mind, guys, I do work out, but this bronchitis is kicking my butt. Is anybody else sick? But it's different. It's the rest of the story who you choose to be. Because some people, where's the worst story? Alcoholic father, alcoholic mother, they've chosen to go on that same path. They're thinking like they may be so upset. They're thinking, I'm gonna be like my dad, I'm gonna be like my mom, I'm married, I'm gonna like them. That's exactly what they do. They choose the same thing their parents once did, or everybody around them once did, and then they get upset about their lives. But it's like, if you know what's bad for you, and sometimes you don't even know what is bad for you subconsciously. Sometimes until you like work through that stuff, through trauma, life coaching, therapy, life coach 101, free sessions. Schedule what filter life coach right now. Send me a DM. You learn to actually help heal yourself, recognize patterns in ways where it's like, oh, I didn't realize I did that. Oh, I didn't realize he was a person in free pass. Oh, I didn't realize that I like these guys to try to prove my worth because I wasn't getting attention from my family or my mother, and they could have been assholes. There's so many different factors and life circumstances and environment circumstances and mental, physical, where you start, like, until you point out the pattern, point out the issue, like, nothing's gonna really change. You can say, I won't do this, I won't be like them at all. But I've seen so many people go on the path where it's like, I turned up exactly like my father. I did someone exactly like my mother. And sometimes it's not always a good thing. So until we work through the issues, a lot of people don't want to do it at a young age. Work through issues sooner. We're not gonna know how to navigate certain ideas. God, it's hot in this car. Certain ideas later on in life. So again, your story may not have a happy beginning, but it's the rest of the story, who you choose to be, that's gonna help you decide like what you want. And what you want does take some effort. Like what you want and what you'll think takes some effort. People, for example, I used to think I was fat, honestly, because I was a chubby kid growing up. And it came from adoption stuff too. I would eat all the time. I was called fat even like when I lost like 25, 30 pounds. In my skinny, I was still called fat. I remember being at a sleepover with these other girls, and they're calling the guys, and someone said like, "Go leave Paulson fat," and the guys started laughing. I started crying my eyeballs out. Like at that point, like even my mother was trying to like keep me from going to the sleepover. I'm like, it was so fun. My first ever event. My mom. I should have listened to her and back then because she knew something that I didn't. At that point, like, I wished I would have stayed home. I wish I would not have gone. Because I didn't feel comfortable the entire time. I felt awkward. And then I just felt really ugly. And if I would have known that scenario would play out, I never would have gone. But something about me, it's where, like, I needed to hear that. I needed to see who my friends were. I needed to understand that, like, whoever was around, like, even the guy was, no thank you. I should have kept my peace and not been. But even going through stuff things like that, you learn over time to really be intentional who has your energy, who doesn't. You learn over time to really be intentional like what you eat, what you don't eat, and how you want to perceive yourself, and like to ignore other people's like new words and stuff like that. Because not everyone's happy with themselves. A lot of people really hate their bodies. A lot of people don't really like who they are. So the goal is like, why would you take advice from someone who's like, an example, tie your shoes, but you haven't even been in your laces? Like, why would I believe to you that I'm fat when I know I lost all this weight? 'Cause, I mean, keep in mind, like, I'm weightlifting, so I've gained like a lot of weight. So I'm at the gym, but also it's from eating, so it is what it is. But I'd rather be healthy than be at my low key like thinnest, and be having my eating disorder, be chewing food and spitting it out, to be so exhausted, and yada yada. So again, that's the rest of the story again. At the beginning, but that's the story. Who you choose to be. Have a great night, my filters. Love you. Bye.